Never met someone like you, felt something like your touch. I wish we would have met tonight. Sure, I've had lovers in my past, won't lie, I've had a blast, but none of them had your humor. They can't compare, no one could ever do, nobody's close to you. Need you to stick around for later. How about forever? Yeah, you feel so right now. It's in a lifetime. I need you to stay longer. How about forever? Yeah. Wanna get to know all your friends, bet I'll be loving them. I'll try to make them love me back. It won't be like it was before, easy when hearts are pure. I'm falling hard and falling fast. Oh, they can't compare, no one could ever do, nobody's close to you. Yeah, one night's not fair. What can I say to make you never leave this room? I need you to stay longer. Need you to stay forever, little longer. I need you to stay for later, just a little later. Yeah, you feel so right now. It's in a lifetime. I need you to stay longer. How about forever? Hit that beat on repeat on the floor, get the high score, get ready, get set, and go. Let's game hard mode. Hit that beat on repeat on the floor, get the high score, get ready, get set, and go. Let's game and let's get the win. Let's game and let's get the win, get the win. Let's game and let's get the win. Let's game and let's get the win, get the win. Are you an astronaut from the future or a warrior on a mission? Let's game and let's get the win, get the win.
Because we're recording on the live and also on the other applications, so we should be covered.
We should be good. Like, we should be good now. This should be the audio going through. Hi, we're finally here. One thing I do want to grab, I just want to grab something really quickly. Let's just want to go back to the countdown. 2 seconds. I just want to grab that and put that on the podcast setup because I don't know if that's a thing or not. Okay, we are there. We are there. We're in the thing. You Suck at Gaming says you need better countdown. Yes, I know. Lol. I think I know who that is. That's why I'm laughing at that particular comment. Right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We're finally here. I mean, we're not doing the recording just yet. We're going to be recording in just a second. This is the pre-recording part of the podcast, as it all says. So that's going to be a fun one.
The behind the scenes you don't get in the actual recording.
Yeah, the one we mess up everything before we actually go. This thing takes like all three of us kind of like just getting everything all set up. Is like we've all got our recorders in the background, all ready to press record. So we're all like ready to go. You're watching us live before we're doing those buttons, so it's like hey Kamazoid.
Yeah, what's up?
Do something to entertain the people while I'm setting some extra stuff off in the background. Thank you.
Well, I can't do anything physically,
Sing a
but I can
song.
always
Sing a song.
like no,
Sing a song on the
no,
podcast.
no. We want people to actually enter and watch the
enter and
podcast, not
listen.
leave. All right, so I can't do that.
Blue
No.
Fox would sing a song.
Song of the old three gentlemen preparing a podcast. I don't know the lyrics.
He would sing a song in Italy. It's Italian.
It's well, but then people think we're all Italian, and that would not be fair.
That would not be. That
You both can learn Italian. I would encourage that, of course, but it's
he's got an excuse.
Yeah, that was a very smart response, man. IQ is very high, Blue. Nice, man.
it's a night saver. It's oh, it's but yeah. So the no song will be sung. I told a friend of mine to join the live. I don't know if he has the time to, but that would be nice.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. Where are we at? What's happening?
We're preparing. It's all part of the process. All part of the ways.
Part of the
This fun.
ongoing process. Oh, that's what I wanted. I wanted that. That's exactly. Oh, okay, right. Because yeah, right. Moving that, copying that, put that on there.
So yes, like I was saying earlier, yes, when I started doing the journal, it's I don't know, like it's much nicer because I can see the games I actually played and remember them a bit better. So like in March, I've played like a Dragon Age, and I said, oh yeah, these were my opinions. It lasted me about 40 hours, and then yeah, I have my takes on it. Then even shorter games that I've played that maybe lasted 3, 5, or 10 hours. But yeah, I still have played them, complete them, and yeah, catalog them. So then I just kind of have it for myself. No real purpose, to be honest, but just personal. Yeah.
I don't know. Completely makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. Like even now, for me, like the most fun that I had out of all the games that I mentioned and played was like Final Fantasy Rebirth. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy that game so much, even though it did had a lot. Some parts where the game was so slow and so heavy. I got bored a lot. But then because of the characters and story and some of the good side content, it still pulled me back. I still I enjoyed it a lot, and even like to this day, I still want to get back and play it. But because of the others that I have, I still want to experience new styles of games and change it up a bit from Elden Ring and all, because I really got to switch it up, even in terms of my videos. I gotta do something new. I swear to you, like the day that I drop a video that's not Elden Ring related, you guys both are gonna be shocked. That I do believe. It's something you won't expect from me.
I'm expecting the same genre, if anything. Like the only thing I'd be expecting from you, I would say, like, if you do a twist, it's gonna be in that kind of death area of gaming. Where
Oh, I
it's
don't expect
dull.
Kamisoid to start an island in Animal Crossing. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's but it's yes, I would imagine other action-packed games.
Kamazoid completes The Sims 4.
No,
Without dying, without
Without dying, one go.
with zero deaths.
out of all the games, I will never play Sims 4. I already having the real life Sims experience in my life living. So why the hell do I have to play a game that's close to reality? I'm living reality. That's more enough for me. I don't want to
Kamazoid takes
have the same responsibilities that I have in life. Have them in a video game. When it comes to video games, I just want to have something else. And the experiences that I like the most are ones where they beat me up a lot. Well, I didn't have a lot of trauma in my life, so I have a good life.
Takes on the Disneyland Adventure game. I feel like that would be an alley, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
To be fair, if you did a Disneyland Adventure game, would you just kill all the characters from Disney? Are we allowed to say that on? Just
I think do, but
we're
I
allowed to
don't know.
Uh,
No, hey, look, man, we gotta use the advantage of not being very known and very well known on famous podcasts. We can use that to advantage. Like
serious
Disney's
question.
not gonna know about this,
Yeah,
so
okay.
yeah.
Serious,
Go on.
serious question, and kind of a Disney-related question for you. You like playing Elden Ring? Very true. Would you ever play Kingdom Hearts?
You know what? To be honest with you, to be fair, I actually thought about it. I thought about playing like the first one, two, and three, but I saw like the order of the games, like how do you have to in order to follow the story of the characters and all, and that just totally did not make any sense because it was chronologically weird. It had like the first game and then Kingdom Hearts 1.5, Kingdom Hearts this and that. It wasn't like Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, like the you go on a straight line. It just had a lot of different games that have the story that prepare you for the second, and it didn't make sense. And with the Disney stuff, so it just pulled me away. I don't know. The first two games, like I was so close to playing them because they didn't put a lot of focus and emphasis on the Disney aspect. But then like on the second, you can say the second half of the second game and the third, a lot of focus on the Disney characters and the all the cutesy stuff and the, I guess you can say, just my opinion, just the childish Disney, and it's kind of like for kids and children. Like it's not for me. It's just all about dark and let's say dark fantasy stuff. You know, something that's harsh, challenging, difficult. That's the kind of stuff that I like. Even though Kingdom Hearts as a game itself, it is really hard, but it still feels like something for little boys. Let's just keep it like that. You know, I don't want to say something that 10 years later I just gonna clip it and say, "Oh, Kamizoid hates the Kingdom Hearts because it's for children." And it's gonna be a huge topic in the future and cancel and all that crap. I don't want that.
It's no, but it's more than fair. Like, to be honest, there are some games, especially Japanese games. I'm not too sure that, like, even the Final Fantasy, for instance, they do have some moments that feel a little bit like kind of Power Ranger esque, and maybe sometimes for us Westerners, can be a little bit like hard to get into, because, like, for instance, I play the Yakuza games, right, and those games are quite serious 90% of the time. But then on the other 10%, you have silly things like the karaoke, you have like chicken races, you have a lot of things that are a bit wacky, and at times, yeah, it can feel a bit off if you're not like familiar with that area. So same goes with the Kingdom Hearts. Like, yeah, if you're a bit of an outsider, then yeah, probably you see some elements on it, and you're like, okay, this feels a little bit silly and childish. But then maybe if you're a fan and yeah, you kind of look past that, then you're like, okay, this game actually has a good story and yeah, good gameplay and whatnot. So yeah, it depends. It's yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I don't think you'll be cancelled for the internet for this opinion. Hopefully, for you.
Maybe.
All right, ready to get down to it?
Yes.
Right, let's
Yeah.
do this. We just get all the things all ready and set up. There we go. We're all good. We are all good. We're snappy and good. I'm happy. You're happy. Everybody's happy. Let's do this. So, start recording. And start recording on my end. So, just want to make sure that's definitely going through. Cool. Brilliant. Okay, we are recording. I want to make sure that oh, is it?
I having like technical issues. Well,
Oh, there we
we
go.
all do, but it's all good.
Yeah, we should be all good. Okay, is that? You just double check on that one. Are you guys recording in the background just for safety for me?
Well, we can do that. I wasn't, but
Okay, let's just make sure we're doing that. All right, because I'm not fully dependent if we're all being connected.
fair enough.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do the clap hand things like a back. Okay, I'm recording.
Yeah, go for it. Right.
I don't know what people do that. It's a bit silly.
Just a sec.
Okay, right. Okay, oh, right. I'm definitely going through there. So I'm going through. So we're using a podcast app to record this. It's a brand new, never done this before, so this is gonna be a fun one just to see. I'm seeing my wavelengths on there, so just to see if you guys both talk. I realize there's a microphone button at the bottom that we can all click on, so I can hear Camazoid inside there. And I just want to check on Blue Fox. Blue Fox, if you talk, are you talking through there as well?
Yeah, hello, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so we're definitely all coming through there. So no matter what, that's a good feature. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Right, let's carry on. All right, so that will be our new backup recording program. I'm recording everything, and then if you guys are recording your ends, we should be golden. All right, clap, boom, let's go. Okay, so starting off, let's talk.
Hello. All right.
So starting off, let's just. Hi guys,
go,
what's up?
let's go.
And welcome to the podcast. My name is Seb. Let's introduce you to our guest quickly. We've got Blue Fox here.
Always a pleasure to be here, Seb.
And we've also got Camazoid. We also got Camazoid.
Yeah, I just took some time off playing the. Yeah, you can hear me, right?
If you can't hear you, we'll hear you back on playback.
Okay, so I took.
I hear you twice.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah. I can hear you. If you can hear someone twice, it might be because you can hear them on Discord and through the recording setting. So you just want to turn down. So if you've got like
yes, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so you might be able to hear someone twice.
Yes, yeah.
So just be aware
Okay.
of that. Okay, cool. Pay attention to the Discord one. That's the one you want to pay attention to because that's the live. That's the fully on live. The other one's like the backup recording. Okay, so. Okay, let's open up. By the way, before I did this podcast, and I really want to mention, I really wanted to get Lewis's opinions. Lewis is, by the way, the channel manager, and I thought he might have some questions on all of this. So I won't go too far into it, but I spoke to him. We actually had a chat about things like what games should cost and all that kind of stuff. And we really came down. I think most of our stuff was coming down to a certain whether games, where does £70 lie? £70 is a because Camazoid. Before we started this podcast, you said to me, £70 was a bit of a hefty margin. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say the answer is a yes and a no.
So sparks me.
The reason why I said it is because
what happened in the first place? Why did you come across that?
Because when it comes to like paying $70 for a video game, it's always gonna depend on whether or not that game is worth the price, whether or not that there's a lot of content within that game to give it the worth of the $70 dollar price, and some of the games feel like an absolute cash grab or just an evil scam from the companies, because even though this game is priced at $70, is either way too short or the content is just mind-boggling or boring, and it's not that fun. Basically, it doesn't earn the worth of $70. Like, I can speak out of experience. Like recently, this month, one of my most anticipated games got released, which is I was absolutely hyped and excited for, but I also was scared for, which is Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Doom games. I played all the classics from like the 90s and as well as the new ones. I basically played all the Doom games. So knowing that we have a newer Doom game, I was excited for. And at first, I didn't care about the pricing because I know this game is going to be worth the price and all. But then more information started to be revealed. Like this game's not going to have an online mode. It's going to focus more on the story. This game's not going to have some side content at release. So I was okay, so I was a little bit skeptical. I was starting to get a little worried because if this is gonna be a $70 game and it's just going to focus on just a story campaign, then the campaign is going to be very long. And with the many trailers they dropped, I had the feeling that yeah, this game is gonna be worth the price. It's gonna be very long. It's gonna be very fun and all. And then the game released. Bought it on release, $70. Even though I absolutely loved it, I had so much fun with the game. The gameplay was so cool. Story was really good. It was still way too short. Like logically speaking, as let's say as a grown man with responsibilities and all, spending $70 on a video game that only has a story campaign that is long for basically a 13-hour story campaign that you can finish in like 3 to 4 days is not a good investment. I was so furious at myself after I bought the game because I still love Doom and I love the Dark Ages. But $70 for a 13-hour campaign, 22 chapters campaign is not worth the price. Compare this to like the previous game they released, like Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal came out at $60, and that game had an online mode, a fully functional online mode. Even though it didn't have a lot of, let's say, different game types for that online, it still had a fun online mode that's only meant for Doom. It had side content like the master levels. Even that when the game released, on release, it still had like 2 master levels that you can play after you finish the game, and they had like a main story campaign with 12 really long chapters. So that game still earns the price of $60 because you had the main campaign, you have an online mode, and you have extra side content that you can do after you beat the game. But for the Dark Ages, it's $70 and it doesn't have an online mode, something you can play after you finish the story, and it doesn't even have side content. The only thing you have is a story mode, and if at least if the story mode was like, let's say 40 chapters, maybe even 35 chapters, I would have said yeah, it's still worth the price because that way I know it's actually long. But a 22 chapter, a 13-hour story game with $70, it is not worth the price, which is why I highly suggest for anybody who's who's, let's say, excited on this new Doom game or want to try out. I'll tell you to just wait on it for the price to drop, maybe to like, let's say, $45, $50 at best. Then you can go for it because I believe, for me, this is my crucial opinion. I don't care what anybody says, but Doom: The Dark Ages should have been released a $50 game. If you're just going to offer just a main story campaign, that's it, just a campaign, that game should be released $50. Do not go above. If you're gonna release a $70 game, then you gotta have some side content for people to do after they finish the story. You gotta have an online mode, something that can keep the game fresh and alive, and you coming back to it. For me now, like I've already like been one thing that I hated, and the reason why I hated myself for buying Doom: The Dark Ages, because after I finished the game. No, there is no reason for me to go back to it. Like there is no reason that's pushing me to go back and play the game. Like I already played it and beat it on 2 of the hardest difficulties. Yes, there is an even harder difficulty and even harder challenge. Absolutely. But no, I already like beaten the game 2 times. I know everything. I beaten the final bosses on the hardest difficulty. So there's no reason for me to go back to it. Like no reason at all. The only reason when I can go back to it is when they finally add that extra content. But if you're not gonna drop some extra side content release, then why should I buy the game at full price? Which is why buying Doom: The Dark Ages at $7 was the worst decision that I made. Compare that to Elden Ring, which is like released a few days back
Yeah.
at a price of $40. This game has only it has like an online mode of or you can play it by yourself, of course. You want to make sure that you either play it by yourself or you play it by your friends. And it has like 8 bosses, and I'm still stuck at the first boss, like 11 hours in this game, and I'm still stuck in the first boss. And this game like has 8 bosses, 8 different major bosses with of course a lot of other content. And playing it online with your friends, it's just the best, most fun that I absolutely had. Compare that to Dark Ages. Yes, they are completely different type of games, and Doom has a story mode compared to Elden Ring, where it doesn't have a story mode. It's like a mod rather than a full game. You know, it's just the game itself is built kind of like a mod for people to experience or something fun for people to do. But I still feel like buying Elden Ring was more of a right decision and a better call than buying Doom: The Dark Ages, because Elden Ring is something that I could always come back to, even after I finish it, finish the whole defeat all the 8 bosses. I can still re-experience the game again by playing it this time around, playing it solo, trying it out by doing it by myself, not playing it online, and all. So you have completely different type. Played this and just difficult, and feels like so. Yeah,
I think there might be a little bit of cut out in that end part in that sentence. I'm not too sure. Blue Fox, did you get cut out as well? Or did you hear that?
I was a little bit laggy in the end, but I'm sure if it's my end or.
No, it wasn't your end. I heard it on Kamazoy's end. I thought I did some words on Kamazoy near the end of that. Kamazoy, you still there? You still good? Oh.
Kamzo, can you hear us?
Oh, he's disconnected slightly. I'm sure we'll hear that back in playback. So I think he's got his end recorded. So we'll hopefully get him back in just a second. Okay, well we'll move on then straight to you, Blue Fox, for a second. Blue Fox, what when it comes to like games that cost like up to £70, what's your take on that? Like do you think that's a good price for 2025?
The short answer is no.
Okay.
It's and here's the reason, because the reason that the developers give for increasing the prices from the usual 60 euros to 70 and even 80 euros or pounds or dollars or whatever currency you guys are using that are here in this podcast is because they claim inflation. They say inflation has grown up, the value of the currency has been growing in the past 5, 10, 15 years, so it makes no sense for us to have a game sold at the same price as it was 5 years ago, because 5 years ago 60 euros was worth more than it is today. And that's true, that's fair. But the problem is that it didn't happen gradually. It didn't happen every so often that the price of a game steadily increased a little bit, let's say 2 euros, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 10. No, it just happened sharply. So then you're wondering, they're doing it because of the inflation, or they're doing it because since everything is increasing of prices, they can claim it's due to inflation and step in and get more money from us, because from the biggest developments, at least, bigger developers, we are not seeing them struggling in the market. We're seeing them with huge successes, selling millions of copies, making millions of revenue. So yes, for them, it's not the problem that, they cannot make ends meet. The problem is that, they want to make more. The reason why the PlayStation 5 Pro is sold at 800 euros is because they want to sell more PlayStation 5 Pros and make more money. It's not because they want to evaluate the impact the inflation had on the newer console. I mind you that at least during the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 era, I don't know if you guys remember, both of you, that the price of a console used to drop steadily within the years. So you had like the PlayStation 3 release that I think was 500 euros. Then it was a newer model was made, which was a little bit cheaper. Then the slim version was made, which was a bit cheaper. Because people realized that every year that passed, the technology became more obsolete, and hence needed to justify to sell an old console. And the justification was to reduce the price. Heck, I remember there was the Wii Mini that was less than 100 euros. It didn't have a Wi-Fi module, which I thought it was a little bit overkill. But in theory, if you wanted to get a Wii on launch, well, not on launch, but like at the time that the Wii was active, you could get it for lower price. Now the prices of the consoles have increased, something that it did not happen. The current generation, which people are still calling new generation, has higher prices today than they had 5 years ago. The PlayStation 5, at least the new version, of course you can buy them used, but yeah, I'm of course referring to the newer models. Like if you go to the shop, you find them at higher prices. So, and I think that's bonkers because technology has evolved in the past 5 years. If anything, video games haven't, because it reached a point where it costs so much to develop video games with super realistic graphics and super realistic physics and whatnot that developers have stopped doing that. A lot of developers are still developing also for the PS4 and for the lower end computers because they realize that people have those and they are not going to spend millions of euros to sell a game 20% more because you want to see the hair of the protagonist swinging with the wind more fluidly. No, like people do not care about this. We want good experiences. We want good games to play. It's good to see progress. It's good to see how new technologies can be utilized. But again, apart from, let's say, Cyberpunk and Starfield, most games released currently, if developers tried it, they could have fit it in the older console as well. But they clearly didn't. Because they want to justify the new costs. And that's a bit of a shame. That is truly a shame. The next week, the Nintendo Switch will release the new version, the Switch 2, and it's going to cost more than people were expecting. The games are going to cost more than people were expecting. And the reasons are vague. They say, because especially the new Mario Kart World, is going to be 80 euros. So it's already higher than current games, but it's 10 euros higher than the games that are going to be released on the Switch. And we all wonder, it's like, okay, what this new Mario Kart game has. And they show the trailer, they show the direct, they even discuss all the features and whatnot. And it looks like a Mario Kart game. It's a fun game. It's a game that I will enjoy. It's a game that everybody will have a good time with. But it's a Mario Kart game. It's not. They're not reinventing the wheel. And claiming that now they have a world that's expansive and big and explorable, it's worth the price. I wonder to myself, we had those games like 20 years ago. You cannot sell an open world as an innovation. It's the standard. If anything, it's an old thing. I rather prefer to play a linear game that's fun. But no, they want to insist that since they spend a lot of money to put things that the players might not even care about, and then they sell the price of the game to 20 euros more, then yes, I wonder if it was worth it. And the answer is no, it's not worth it. It's greediness.
To me, I have to put it in there because, like, I have to say, like, there's always that big separation between more adventurous type gaming and less adventurous type gaming, where I'm not like a little bit like, okay, when I'm younger, I can't afford a full-on PC gaming setup. That's fine. I had access to be able to afford an Xbox, which was fine. I could buy an Xbox. Save up a little bit, but £300, I could get an Xbox about that price, and that was a big difference because a PC was about 1,000 something pounds. I was like, no way am I going to be able to afford that. But when you said like the pricing of consoles and the pricing of gaming, all that kind of stuff, I had it tick to me like the PlayStation 5 Pro, where they're delivering this as an expectation for people to go, I want that. What? Like, I don't want to be rude, but like, if you click on Cyberpower, which is kind of like the, actually, I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, if you click on Cyberpower and you look at like some of the even just the first 3 PCs that are advertised on their thing, the cheapest option for like that you can get on that website, right? Like, with the first 3 things, I'm seeing the first PC that's shown off my list is a PC that costs 1,500 and the PlayStation 5 Pro is $700. The PlayStation Pro is half the price of a PC, and I'm saying like, okay, at what point does technology is like a PlayStation or an Xbox the same price as a PC? At that point, are we just gonna go like the Xbox Pro or the PlayStation Pro is going to literally be the equivalent to a PC? Like, because like the difference between playing on a console or playing on a PC, as you might be aware, for me is mods. And I'm like, you know, people are going to be able to develop these mods and put them on these games and all that kind of stuff. And they're normally going to be the PC versions because that allows you more open space. But then does that diminish the fact that the price of actual games that we're not included mods anymore? So like, we're going to be paying so much for a game and not have all the features that a PC player would get? I mean, I always expect PC games to be more pricey, but I thought there'd be like a bigger difference than half the price when it comes to the actual consoles versus PCs. When it actually comes to gaming, I spoke with Lewis about this beforehand. Kamazoid, before I continue, yeah, I'm just gonna hook you on into the podcast, okay, into the podcast recording, okay?
Yeah, can you both guys hear me? Sorry for cutting off. Apparently my the power has cut off for some reason and then just got back. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no problem. It's not your fault. It's just happens. But we heard the end of your speech more or less, and then you started to lag out. So we're not too sure.
Fancy editing.
Yeah, we'll do some fancy editing, and I will fix the speech.
Okay.
But yes, while Seb, you fixed that, I'll share just a little bit more details. Which the reason why I would suggest for somebody that wants to play cheap video games, I suggest them the PCs, because at least the games there are cheaper. We are all aware of the Steam sales and where you get very good deals. But what many people are not aware of is that the Epic Game Stores, they gift games every week, and they give some noticeable games. They're giving out GTA 5, they're giving out Watch Dogs 2, they're giving out Civilization 6, Ghostwire Tokyo, Sifu, the Dead Island 2, I believe, last week. So in this regard, if you have a PC, at least you might be, yes, you have to put a lot of money up front to buy a good graphics card, a good RAM, a good CPU and whatnot. But then, yes, at least you can get a catalog of games either relatively cheap or literally for free. And since the games have a bit plateaued in the past 5 years, at least graphically and also innovationally, then I wonder to myself, yeah, if I play a game released 5 years ago, I still get to play a very good game. It's not that, it's Cyberpunk, it's 4 years old, and people still claim it to be the pinnacle of gaming from a technical point of view. Like when somebody asks you, like, oh, what's the most beautiful performing open world field game, etc. It's like, yeah, it's Cyberpunk or Starfield. Like those, and those games are old. It's not, we have not seen something recent that can reach those limits where you say, we do need a more powerful computer to play this newer game. We have not seen that because, developers have plateaued a bit. It's which is good, to be fair, because again, I truly don't care if the hair of the protagonist has whatever motor to make it run. I care if the game is fun. I mean, we have seen it with the Expedition 33 game that was recently released, right? That I did not play, but I've heard from many people that's good. Which it's a game that looks fantastic because it's running on Unreal Engine 5. It looks fantastic, but it doesn't run horrendously. And again, the game was sold by $50 because the developers were not that many. They realized they made a AA production and a AAA production, and people were happy about that. You don't need to have 1,000 developers to develop one game. You can have a bit less. And then yes, if you have less developers developing a game, then yes, you can sell the game for lower. Because I think I read an article that says that the last Call of Duty game, which is it Black Ops 6, I'm not too sure, but the last Call of Duty game was developed by 3 different studios, and every studio had upwards of 400 people working at their peak. So that's 1,200 developers developing one Call of Duty game. You know how many people worked on Expedition 33?
30.
30 or 50 people. Yeah, like at most, they did outsource some stuff, right? But again, at most, it's at their pinnacle would have been less than 100. That's the reason why they can afford to sell the game at $50 because they say, yeah, it's a smaller production, but still of high quality that we are happy to deliver, and to a generous price. Oblivion was released at $50 because again, the developers realized, which is Bethesda, out of them all, they realized that they just took a game that originally existed, so they didn't need to invent everything. They just made it in was it in Unreal Engine 4 or 5? I think in Unreal Engine 5. And they just made the game and said, okay, we remade it fairly quickly because, again, it's a remake. It's not a full-on new title. Then, it makes no reason for us to sell it at $70, $80. Something that, Nintendo doesn't really understand to catch. I mean, in the Switch 2, you have to pay for the upgrade for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild if you want to play it at 60 FPS, which I found bonkers. It's like, you clearly made a game that I had a hard time running on the Switch 1. And then at last, when you give me the definitive edition that runs as it was envisioned, then I have to pay 10 extra euros for a game that was released 8 years ago. Then yes, you can understand my frustration with Nintendo. It's truly ridiculous.
Yeah. But I do want to emphasize a little bit on the part that you said, Blue Fox, like when you mentioned like the amount of developers on a game like for Call of Duty and all, and the choices with the Expedition 33 for it to be priced at $50 and all, but don't you guys like think the pricing of a game should also depend on the amount of content the game itself has? Like you can't price a game $70 and only for it to have like just a story mode, a short story mode, and all. If you're gonna price it at 70, then you gotta offer people more. You gotta offer people that they're going to say, yeah, this game was worth $70. Like for me,
it depends.
I have to be absolutely honest. C7 like Rebirth, I didn't buy it release because of course I didn't have the PS5 5 and all, so I believe I bought it at a major discount. But after fully experiencing the game and fully playing it, I looked at the game box and said, yeah, this game was absolutely worth $70 because of the amount of content it has. The fact that it took me like 110 hours to fully experience everything the game it had offered, that just goes to show on the amount of content this game has. And yes, some of the content that it has was like very boring to the point where it made me question like, why did you add this? Why did you have this? But those kinds of like one or two, let's say mini games or quests, you find that are absolutely boring or mind-boggling all. It doesn't change the fact on it's still a new experience. You're literally experiencing something completely different, something they added in the game, and you're trying out. Maybe it's not fun, or maybe it could be some of the best experience. And of course, each individual experience is completely different. Maybe this side quest and mini game I hated. Someone else really had fun with it. So just goes to show the amount of love, passion, and the creativity that these developers put in order to make you feel that when you bought this game at $70, yeah, it was worth it. Compare that to buying a game $70 just for you to play a 22-hour campaign. A 14-hour campaign, and then that's it. You're never gonna go back to it. Like the one thing that hurts me the most here in my heart, like I love Doom. But after paying $70 and finishing Doom the Dark Ages, now there is no reason for me to go back. No reason at all. Like I have no reason to boot up the game again. I'm not gonna touch it again until a year later when a DLC releases. And of course that DLC is probably gonna be $50 to maybe even $20. And thanks to the Elden DLC, maybe even they can price it at $40 and they don't care whether it's short or long. They say just it offers new experiences and yada yada and all that marketing talk just so it can push people to play it, to then realize that they made the wrong choice on paying that amount of money for something that is very short. And that just pisses me off, you know.
I agree, yes and no, in the sense that yes, I do agree the fact that a game has to offer content for its price. Again, that's the reason why at least it used to be the case that indie games were $20, AA productions were 40, and AAA were 60, right? Because you had indie titles were usually smaller in size, developed by few people, but they offered a nice experience. Okay, 20 euros, off you go. You have the nice experience, and that's it. AA productions were games that were like in the middle. You said, okay, I pay $40, I get a nice game that's well developed, but it doesn't have the resources to do that extra bit. And then for the extra bit, you would pay $60 because you would have games that were truly outstanding in comparison to AA productions. Games that you were like, okay, you saw them and it was truly something else. The thing is that I don't agree with the fact that the game price has to be directly linked to the length, because then there's the slippery slope of developers adding useless content for content's sake. Like, we always criticize Ubisoft for its malpractice of making every game an open world and every game monotonous and repetitive, because they say that, yeah, you buy the game and you potentially have 200 hours of gameplay. But yes, if 2 hours of gameplay means to do the same thing over and over again and expecting something to change, then yes, of course you will have a boring experience. I played Far Cry 6 with a friend of mine, and yeah, I stopped playing it because I was just getting bored. We were just getting bored. And yeah, in theory the game was big. In theory the game could have lasted me 50 hours. Yeah. But yeah, I was not having fun. Instead, for instance, last year I bought at full price, but it was on the Switch One, so full price meant $50 or like 55, which was Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Kirby in the Forgotten Land. That game I played that game about 15 hours. Maybe, I don't think more than 20, I think like 15-ish. And yeah, I had a blast with that game. I loved it, I enjoyed it, and yeah, in theory I can go back and play some levels. So, and that game, I'm happy I've played, although I played a lot. I don't say, oh, since I paid 50 euros, then the game must have lasted me at least 40 hours. So I understand your frustration, because then yes, you say, okay, I do want to also save up money to buy more games, because yeah, it's not that we're made out of money, it's gaming, it's getting an expensive hobby, to be honest. It didn't used to be so expensive. So at least the few games that I buy at launch and I buy at 70 euros or dollars, I do want to enjoy as much as possible. So it is true, you're right to be frustrated. But at the same time, I don't want developers to make the same mistake of saying, okay, let's add content for content's sake, and yeah, now you can do this over and over again, and in theory the game will last you 60 hours, and then yeah, it's just 60 hours of doing the same repetitive task.
I mean, yeah, and that's kind of where I come into this. When I don't like them adding in content for content's sake. That's completely stupid. I've got 5 key notes on my reasons on like what a game should offer to be worthy of a higher price, and you've got to base your price around some key features. Number 1, is the game playable? Okay, so here's my first kind of thing that I kind of want to hook on in here. Do you think a game that has bugs, for both of you, do you think a game that has bugs deserves to be at a higher price? Because if I see a game that launches and it's filled with bugs, I'm like, no, of course that shouldn't be $70. They didn't check it through properly. To be decreased. Like, don't give me that if it's gonna just contain a load of bugs. What are your thoughts on that?
But that goes with every price. Like, it's not that if you sell me a game at 50 euros, I'm like, okay, well, it's 50 euros, I'm gonna tolerate the bugs. Like, no, if you sell me a product as a customer, I expect quality, regardless of the product. The product can be disappointing, but it has to work. It has to function as a product. Otherwise, I can ask the refund, right? It's if I buy a mug and the mug breaks on my hands as soon as I grab it, yes, that's a broken mug, and I can have a refund.
You literally just right now talked and asked about basically the Cyberpunk 2077 situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you guys remember Cyberpunk 2077? It got released on day 1. Absolutely broken. The next day, 2,200,000, every single person refunded the game. If you're gonna release a game which is broken, just don't release it at all. Make sure to just release a functional game at the price that you decide. Basically, when it comes to game releases, the first step is to make sure that game releases and it works. It actually works. I don't mind the bugs that break the game, that can stop you from playing, that can stop you from enjoying the game itself. Yeah, no, don't even think about releasing it. because we don't want to go through the same Cyberpunk situation again. And I'm pretty sure not a single game company want to experience something like that, because this game got released and the next day everybody's just got their money back.
Yeah, and
freaking
I am aware,
barrel.
as you said there, that games are filled with bugs. I'm also aware, and and I'll be okay with it. There is the occasional, all right, we've had to put a load of disc releases, and so all the game is all released at the same time. We might have found bugs after we've shipped the discs off. That's okay as long as you do a day one patch. I'm okay with the day one patch. That's okay. Like, if you release the game at this time and the patch comes out like an hour after or the same time, or worst case scenario, the day after, as long as I get that day one patch, I'm okay, because I know that that's a company
But I
that
have
cares about
to.
it.
But I wanna have to stop you here, Seb, to ask you a question when it comes to like the day one patch, because I always think that at the very least, if you're gonna release a day one patch, be like let's say like at the very least like 2 to 5 gigabytes a day one patch that can fix some of the issues some people might find when let's say entering the game, or some few errors and all. But again, I always go back to the Cyberpunk situation. Like when Cyberpunk released, they also like released a day one patch, and that day one patch was like 30 gigabytes. Yeah, there was an iffy there. There was a if you're gonna release the game and you're gonna release a very large day one patch, then that's very discouraging, because you know that there's something wrong. If you're gonna release a day one patch, then it's gotta be absolutely short, to the point that they're just gonna be fixing some few ickies and issues that it's gonna immediately.
Agree. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna do a day one patch, it can't be like a 2 gigabyte. That's gonna scare me. That's gonna be like, oh darn it, they didn't check it all through properly. If it's like a few, like I don't know, a gigabyte at max, or maybe like 500 megabyte, or just something like that. So like, okay, they fixed a few things up here and there. They wanted to do it just before they launch. That's okay. That's small patches are fine. Like a day one small patch, little few bugs here that they found out as they were shipping the game out. That's okay.
I mean, to be fair, like it's most reason why the patches are getting bigger and bigger, like the day one patches, is because the shipping of a game, since most people have internet connections, the company says, well, rather than to risk it all, with the logistics of shipping the game like a couple of weeks before it releases, then in the shops they don't arrive and whatnot, we're gonna ship it 3 months in advance, right? So at least the shelves are ready. Then yes, while the game is on the shelves, we're gonna update it. So to be fair, that's more of a kind of logistical thing. It is a bit annoying because it is not always true. I mean, it's not that we don't have internet connections. It's the problem is that if you try to download something and 20 million people around the world are going to download the same thing, you're going to have slow connections regardless. I'm scared when I'm going to buy my Switch 2. I'm going to buy the bundle with Mario Kart, so it's going to be the digital version. And yes, I'm sure that I'm not going to play it in the first day, because everybody else will try to download the game at the same time. So it's a bit of a shame, but that's the reason why usually the patches, the day one patches, are getting bigger. Not because developers are getting lazier, but just logistics.
Okay, we're getting the norm of 70 might be the new price of gaming. I'm going to come to you, Blue Fox, in just a second, so be prepared. Okay, but Kamazoid just mentioned a big game in this industry, which was Cyberpunk. That's I was going to say Cyberpower. It's not Cyberpower. It's Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk. If it came out today, the equivalent would be £70. I'm aware that came out with loads of bugs. But if that game was clean and had no bugs, but it is a first. It is a first of a franchise. It's not like Cyberpunk 2 or Cyberpunk 3. It's Cyberpunk, the first one, And one thing that I always will have a question on. That game was made and created by CD Projekt Red. And if I say CD Projekt Red, what are they famous for making? You guys would both go...
Witcher.
Yeah. So you're already a knowledge base of going, okay, these guys have built The Witcher. This game must be good. Is that a fair reason to release a brand new game in a franchise for $70? Because, let's just talk right here.
Of course, there is more trust, right? As you said, it's not the Danes. What was that? The game that had a flop like the day before or something like that. That was a huge scam.
The day before,
Yeah, that was a huge scam made by some Russian developers that was unclear how many people working on the game in the first place. The trailers were all fake and whatnot. Like, okay, in that case, of course, I say, okay, if you sell me a game $70 and I do not even know who is developing it, then yes,
Exactly.
of course, I'm gonna buy it, and of course, I'm not gonna trust it. If Nintendo releases a game at 80 euros, like it's doing with Mario Kart World,
It's a little
then
bit
yes,
more trustworthy.
I think to myself, the game will work. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo has done, I could count the games that were truly flops that Nintendo made. Like out of the 40 years of history, Nintendo truly has made like 4 or 5 flops. Like games that truly flopped. Like
Yeah.
all games Nintendo makes, they work. They could be boring, they could be a bit uninspired, but they definitely work from a technical point of view. And again, usually they do work, right? They usually have good franchises and they try to maintain high quality standards. They truly care about that. It's out of the, for instance, the Mario Kart series, there's 8 games, and now we're gonna have the 9th title. Out of the 8 games, I've played them all. The title that I like the least, I would still consider it like, and I don't usually give grades to the games I play, but I would consider it like a 7 out of 10. Like it's still like a passing grade, like, and by good margin. It's not merely passing or like still failing. So again, I'm sure that the games Nintendo will make will be great games.
Absolutely.
But again, they cannot use this tool to make me pay more, because then that's basically it's a threat. That means that, oh, now I'm gonna buy games for cheaper of developers that don't have a really good track record just because I want to save up, or do I pay the extra 10 euros because I have the assurance that it was a good company making it? Like, it feels wrong because it feels that it's not an level playing field at that point. It's either going to the sketchy developers that I never heard of that are based in God knows where in the world, or is the good old Nintendo, the good old CD Projekt Red, the good old From Software, right? That you know you can trust.
Thing you hit the nail on the head upon. That do I trust these sketchy developers? These sketchy developers. You didn't think they were sketchy developers out of nowhere, because any game company could come out and create an awesome game. You've seen it in Expedition 33. That's crazy how they created that, and that's like a plus. That is definitely a plus. However, the games like the day before, they did that behind a company called Fantastic that already was a dodgy company with past history of releasing games. They didn't have a good history. I mean, seriously, if you were going to try something like that, release it under a different name. I mean, like I think they were just silly in the first place for just creating it under a company that was already quite well known for not releasing decent quality content or abandoning their games after they release them. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. And that's why people are like, this game looks sketchy, because even though it looks good and technically it could be released and, you know, it could work on the graphics that you see, it's just developed by a company that doesn't look like they would back their game up that much. And that's why we were like, oh, that's dodgy, that's so dodgy. And okay. All right.
Then again, you have the same problem. If all the games are priced the same, then yes, it's at least you have an even playing field to say, okay, look, I could buy the new, Call of Duty game that again it's made by Activision. I know what I'm getting at. It's the game that I know, or I could get in this other game which is also the same price, and thus, I'm gonna give it a fair chance. I'm gonna evaluate if that game also has a lot to offer. It could be Rising Storm, could be Easy Red 2, could be whatever game. Instead, if you do have higher prices, then subconsciously you're telling people, it's like, well, you could buy the other games which are 60, but if you want to spend a little bit more, to be a little bit fancy, it feels like if like a luxury store, right? Like, oh, if you want to buy pants, you can buy them anywhere, right? You can buy them at $5, $10. But if you want the whatever pants of whatever company, you can pay 100 euros, you can pay 1,000 euros, you can pay 10,000 euros, right? So it's that's luxury. But because luxury, it's the whole point is that the pants, the shirts, the smokings that you're buying, it's they are all made by specific people. But for video games, it shouldn't be luxury, it should be quality. They are developers, they're making a software. I mean, a video game is a software, so it shouldn't be the deluxe version of this software. It has to cost more because it's made in a fancy Japanese company that's been making video games for 50 years. It should be based on the quality of the game itself.
Yeah, and exactly. Camazon, I'm going to come to you quickly for a second there.
Of course.
Okay, so as we've just discussed there, like, a good game company building a game, normally you get quite a good reputable game. If it's a not so good game company creating a game, are we judging it on a thing? All that kind of section. What if it's a well-known game company that's really quite reputable for creating a game, but doesn't actually? And here's the thing. What if it's a reputable game company, but they release a game and it just lacks with the bugginess? So you're getting it because you're a fan of the game, but it comes out with a few bugs, and it's not as good as the previous. What if it's Payday 3? What if it had a really bad launch? What if the first thing you saw when buying that really expensive pre-launch game, that you went into the menu and it said, we can't connect you to the game. It's an online only and we can't connect you.
Okay, then the next few minutes, next 5 minutes, exit the game, ask for my refund, and get back my money and search for something better. First thing that I'll do. Enter the game and it doesn't work, I'm out. I'm done. Even if the trailers were the trailers were insane and I got hooked. If I buy the game and it doesn't work, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm taking back my money and I'm switching to something that actually works and actually fun. If I'm not satisfied with paying a lot of money on getting a game, at the very least, I still got a good experience. Like, I'm still not happy with. Again, I keep coming back to this example. I'm still not happy with buying Doom, but I had a good experience. So that's still like relieved me a bit from the amount of price, because for me, I'm someone who's always careful when it comes to specifically like buying video games. If I'm gonna buy something, I have to know that this is gonna be worth the price.
Yeah,
this practically like the second time.
When you got Doom, was there any connection issues?
Mm-hmm. No, because
could you play it? Could you play it fine with no bugs?
Absolutely, no bugs, no issues, just straight in.
There's literally no issues with playing Doom just to get started. The actual experience that you will have when you're on Doom is actually the gameplay itself. That's the only thing that you're really going to judge it on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And no, but not that. The experience, true. The gameplay and systems and all. The story that I'm gonna be following. And Doom doesn't focus more on story. It's more about the experience and the gameplay. No. But at the very least, if you're gonna offer me just a story mode, just a campaign, then it's gotta be long. It's either gonna be long, or you have to give me a reason to keep coming back to this game. Like Doom Eternal, the previous game, I kept coming back to it mainly because of the side content, because of the master levels that always provide me with like a different experience each time I play them, because I strategize on trying something different and all. And they are basically a much more challenging, much more difficult, and completely different way of playing the same level, which is on the campaign. But it has more enemies. It has more strategical encounters with the enemies are actually strategizing how to take. Basically, the developers implemented these types of enemies because they know that you as the player have to develop a strategy in order to defeat this encounter and all. Compare that to Doom the Dark Ages, which is it doesn't have any side content. And even if I'm going to replay the story, I know the enemy placement, I know the strategy that I'm gonna go for that's going to succeed. So there's no way for me to switch. And even if I'm gonna attack specifics, I have some of my issues with Doom the Dark Ages, like the game itself. I'm not gonna go way too deep into it. I do want to say that the core gameplay itself is good, but it's not as fun as the last game for me, because it doesn't push on let's say weapon variety. Like the core concept for Doom is the weapons that you use, but in Doom the Dark Ages, you as the player can choose the weapons that you want to use. It doesn't do as the last game where it pushes you to switch between all the other weapons, because each weapon you use is better for a specific enemy or to take out a specific weak point. Also, you keep switching. But in this new game,
it's not boring. There's lots of switching around. There's lots of doing stuff. There's
yes.
Lots of that. Okay, yeah.
So you're basically doing stuff. You're thinking. You're moving. But in the newer one, this is what I've did, and yes, it is a good strategy, but it doesn't push for that creativity. Basically, compared to Doom the Eternal and Doom the
Yeah.
Dark Ages, you have to push yourself to use the other weapons.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't find that push, mainly because I can beat the whole game with just one single weapon. And throughout the whole game, I only used like one weapon, which is like the super shotgun. And the other weapons, I just didn't use them at all. Mainly because the shield that you have can literally solve all your problems. And all. So I just used one weapon, and all the other weapons, I just didn't use them at all. Only few other ones, mainly because you have to in order to like take out an let's say an enemy shield or some plasma stuff. I don't want to go way too deep into the game. I don't want to like make a full episode on the game specifically. But what I'm trying to say, it feels like they change the mechanics and don't push the player on trying new things, rather than just sticking to what you want to stick with, compared to the previous game where they push you to try this, use this, so you can be more creative.
I'm gonna just pass that back over to Blue Fox for a second. Blue
I
Fox,
would say that.
I was going to ask you a question on it as well, if you don't mind me asking.
Of course.
Okay, so I was going to say, so what he set up is the game like switching everything around, like kind of like give you a try between this and that and all of this and that and that's fine, because that's a lot of pushing content, kind of like going to the viewer, this is what the game offers. I remember games like in Sleeping Dogs, where it would try to show you as many mechanics as possible and all that kind of stuff. So I get a lot of that feel when I'm looking at games like that. I'm like going like, okay, this game's trying to.
I think a very good example, in this area would be Dishonored, because that's a game that it's also fairly short in the sense of like, the campaign is at like 10 hours ish, but that's a game that you could truly play in a lot of different ways. I could boot up the game now and play it as completely different as I did it the first time around, and I would basically have a second game. So at least, yes, the games that are brief and are expensive, but again, they don't have to put an open world. They don't have to put billions of quests and billions of collectibles for no reason. But at least they should try to make it so that you can play the game differently in a meaningful way. So in the case of Doom, for instance, I've not played it, so I cannot, of course, judge it. But in that case, yes, it would have been nice to have a different set to play in a very different gameplay, in a very different style. Like I think of myself the Shadow Warriors, for instance. That's also similar-ish to Doom. The second game, had both weapons from like the swords and axes and whatnot, but also like shotguns and MSGs and all like the guns. So playing with one type or the other was completely different. So that game, you can say, well, it's basically two games if you play it again, but again in a different manner. So in this regard, that's the way to alleviate. But I do want to again highlight the fact that developers don't have to put random content to make it worth it. They have to put meaningful content, and if they want to make a game more expensive, they do have to justify it. They cannot be inflation. It cannot be, the games are getting more expensive. They're not getting more expensive because you hire more developers because you were hoping to make more money, and in turn make a profit, and then now you want to make more profit, and hence you want to increase the price. It's we're not pulling for that. It's
we're not.
We're not fools, but unfortunately we're forced, because the alternatives for video games, it's to play older games. That's the only alternative. Which, to be fair, it's a very valid alternative. I believe that a lot of games get some bad luck if they're old. So people are like, "Oh, what? You're playing this game? It was released 5 years ago." It's like, what's the point? It's a very good game. It's fantastic. It's well made. It's fun, and again, graphically speaking, games of like 5 years ago are very solid today. I remember a time when the PS4 was like already 2 to 3 years. And I was looking back at games 5 years before. I was like, man, these games look old. Like they were running like 480p upscaled. Now, these games are running 1080p, 60 FPS. They have a good graphic and whatnot. Like there was a difference. There was a generation. That's why we call them generations of consoles, right? Because there were generations of differences between the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, between the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. But between the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. There is a difference, of course. There is more raw power to the console. There are definitely some experiences that cannot be... I mean, Cyberpunk in the PlayStation 4, it was not running. It was clearly meant for the PlayStation 5. But again, the jump is not as cut and clear. So why are games more expensive? That's the question. Like, they can be more expensive if you truly promise me something that is revolutionary.
If you put things in, if you put things in and you make stuff, and you actually got that inclusion of yes, let's make some exciting stuff. Then obviously I'd be interested as well.
Because the point that Camus had made is fair. It's like, why would I buy the new Doom
If I'm just
when I could
playing
buy,
Pistol.
Doom? I could buy Doom Eternal, which is graphically speaking very similar. But yeah, I can buy it for like 20 euros in the Steam sales. Heck, even lower perhaps. So again, in the Epic Store, they are starting gifting games that were released like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Like they gifted Control for Christmas. Like yeah, Control is a game that is extremely valid. It's extremely modern. It's not old. So yeah, why would I buy a new game when I can just clearly I don't want to go into the darker side of things of like piracy and whatnot, but emulation, for instance, people say yeah, I can download a PS4 emulator and I could emulate these games because yeah, they are old, they are not sold anymore in the stores. So why would I not? It's
why not?
I don't myself personally, I feel guilty if I were to hack a console that is currently being sustained by the company, so like that the games are sold by it and there are updates and whatnot. But yeah, if it's an older console that has been forgotten by even their own creators, then yeah, I don't feel much much to like it, because I said to myself, yeah, it's my hardware, it's basically my computer, it's no longer sustained, I'm gonna do what the hell I want, it's right, and then I can put some older games that are 15 years old, yeah, I don't care, they're still fun. 15 years ago we had we had the Uncharted, we had the Last of Us, we had the good games 15 years ago. It's not that we were still in the in primitive age.
I think we still got good games today. I just think that there is
we do, of course.
There are some slight issues and that we need to be aware of. You've played. Have you guys played?
I'm sorry. I have to stop you guys here.
Okay.
I do wanna say we do have great games. We do have very wonderful games, yes. But compare this to 10 years ago or 12, 15 years ago, games would take too long to release. And that can kill your excitement, that can kill you from the enjoyment and all. Compared to how it was like 10 years ago, where games can release every 2 years and everything. Like now, they take way too long. You're basically like in pressure whether this game's gonna release in an actual good condition or not, which is very horrible and everything. So I do feel you're right on the new games are also good, but are they really? Because if it's a game that I'm really excited for releases and it's buggy and messy, then I may have made the wrong choice.
I'm gonna say against that. I'm gonna say no. That not every game is taking a long time to release. Some games are just plain not very good because of the short time they take to release. Okay. I'll bring it to my point. Assassin's Creed, for example, is a game that gets released every single year. Yeah.
It's been a while since that's been the case.
It came out this year. That was the last Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, but like before that one was the last.
It's like 2 years max.
They have been slowing down a little bit. I do give Ubisoft credit for this.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, go on.
But the one thing about Assassin's Creed for me is the content, and whether it's getting too large and it's not as fun as more. And I think that's kind of where they're losing me a little bit. Like for example, like you have you guys played Assassin's Creed?
Up to Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at what point did you cut out Assassin's Creed, or are you still playing it?
Yeah, until Origins. That's the last
Origins. You played Origins. Yeah. Me too. Exactly. And I played Origins. I completed Origins and stopped at Origins. I haven't played it since. But because
didn't you play Shadows?
But like, have I played Shadow? I played a little bit of Shadow. Haven't fully completed it yet. And I don't know if I will. And that's my problem. It's quite lengthy content, like just a bit too long. Like for example, like I just managed to complete The Witcher 3. I was like, wow, I had to pay attention for a very long time to complete that story. But like things like Assassin's Creed, the one reason that stops me from buying and completing the next Assassin's Creed game is because I feel like I need to play the game that comes after Origins and then play the game after that, then play the game after that. So I have to play it in order. And because it's got that order vibe that you have to complete games in, I'm like, as much as I like Assassin's Creed, if the content is too long, it's going to cut me out of the story and flop as a franchise. So if I don't like the content, like if the content that you guys mentioned isn't decent enough, I'm not going to want to complete it. If I don't complete it, I'm not going to want to buy the sequels. That's going to be my end. For example, and I'll give you the prime example in this, Dragon Age Veilguard, it could have and possibly has ruined the whole franchise of Dragon Age, because I don't like the whole direction that game went in. And I'm not talking about the wokeness. I don't give a damn about the wokeness. It's like loads of people complain about the wokeness. Yeah, I think the wokeness is a thing in it, but I don't want to make my content and feel like whether it's woke or not. I want to always go, is the content fun and enjoyable and playable? If it's not, and that's what I think, and that's where I put the Dragon Age into, I'm like, yeah, there are issues with that game. I don't like the gameplay feel of it, and it's just like, if I can't enjoy the gameplay, I'm not going to play the game. If the content isn't up to standard, I'm not going to enjoy the game. And because Dragon Age used to be like this, go to town, go to shops, go to different areas, and go to different towns, discover things, try out there's 4 little corner stories that you can try out, and they all combine together at the end to make one big hurrah. That's the Dragon Age that I feel, and it's always between like a hit and hit between the war between mages and Templars. This game, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything like that. It didn't make me feel like that in the first 2 hours. It didn't make me feel like that in the first 10 hours of playing the game. And I'm like, is this what you're giving me? It's terrible. And I can't get to grips on feeling like that's a decent game for me. And that's why that franchise flopped. And now, if it releases another one and it's good, I'm not going to want to play it because that game content wasn't decent and it was too long. And I don't know if you've got comparisons to that, but let me know if you do.
Like a game that ruined a franchise?
Yeah, a game that ruined the franchise. Go for it. Like Assassin's Creed kind of changed direction a little bit. It may ruin the franchise for some players. Dragon Age definitely did it with Veilguard, for me at least. I don't know what you guys are like. What can you guys come up with that?
I don't have examples on the top of my head, but
yeah, me too. I don't remember.
And also, I've mentioned 2 particular games there, Camazoid, just on the back of your thing. Dragon Age Veilguard is 10 years later after Dragon Age Inquisitions. That's a 10-year time gap. Whereas Assassin's Creed was only a 2-year time gap between Origins and the next game, which may have also ruined it for a couple of people. So whether you flanked out on a short time gap or a long time gap, it doesn't matter. If the game gets it wrong, I don't think the creation of a game plays a part. It's how we standard and where we flank that game in our game list. Like, we're like, okay, we're trusting you to make this game, and you can fail us. That's it's my whole gist on things. I don't know on your feel on that.
Let's go back to the discussion of the prices of games, right? It's the thing is that if a game is sold a full price, and if the full price is now considered more expensive than before, so it's considered 70 euros rather than 60, then yes, of course, a flop will feel bigger, right?
Exactly.
It's absolutely, because then it's for instance, when the Assassin's Creed, I remember they released the Mirage game, which I didn't play, but I remember they released that game at $50 because they knew the game was was smaller than the rest. It was not open world. It wasn't with all the quests. It was more as the older games. It was city based. You had more action packed linear story. And you had the city to explore, but it wasn't like a full-on region like the previous or the next game. And in that regard, yes, if a game like that would have failed, at least people would say, well, it's basically a spin-off because it's only 50 euros rather than 70.
True.
And then, yes, I'm willing to give the main series a try. But I would say that goes more in the discussion of spin-offs rather than the pricing, because you can still sell a spin-off at 70 euros, right? So it's a little bit what ifs discussion, because again, I don't have many examples from my end. I've not played a game of a series that was so bad that I had to stop the entire series. The Yakuza 3 was a bit of a weaker Yakuza game, but I still carry on the series. It wasn't as bad as to say, okay, that's it. I will not follow this series no more. But that's the closest I have.
Yeah, I can see where you and I mean, is it an Ampolothy? Is that how you pronounce it? An Ampolothy game series. That's a little bit different. Like, yeah.
And actually, now I think about it, yeah, in that case, okay, this is actually a pretty good example because in that case, the third, the fourth, and the fifth Yakuza, they were released in a bundle that was 60 euros. So in theory, I paid every individual game $20. So in that sense, even if I did not like Yakuza 3 so much, I said, okay, well, I only spent the $20, so it's not the end of the world, right? I still have the other games to play. But if I would have spent the 60 euros at launch for that game, then yes, I would have been a little bit. I would have waited a bit to buy the next game. I would have been a bit more hesitant. I would not have fully avoided it because, again, it can happen that there's a bad series. I mean, heck, for your case, if Dragon Age gets rebooted in 10 years' time by the old creators and with the old direction and whatnot, then yeah, maybe you're still willing to give it a shot. It's not that it has to be fully abandoned. But yeah, it's truly like same goes with Mass Effect Andromeda, right? A lot of people after that game they were like, I don't know, it's the Mass Effect series kind of has died, stopped.
I'm gonna say a really big bad thing right now. I enjoyed Mass Effect.
I didn't play it either. I didn't play the game, so it's not a critique or praise. But a lot of people have critiqued the game, right, when it released, and that's the reason why there's not on Mass Effect, or at least, yeah. And the same is happening more or less with the Velgard, right, for Dragon Age. Yeah. So. But again, this goes beyond the pricing of the game.
I mean, okay. Overall, we all three had a game talk before we actually did the podcast. We were in chat, and I think the game that cropped off on us is, and I think this is kind of where we have to lead it towards the end. Camazwood, I'm going to shoot off with you first. Grand Theft Auto 6. It's been 13 years. Potentially, GTA 5 come out. It hit all the factors to be a good game. Yeah? Do you think GTA 6 is going to hit those same factors, if not better?
Well, the answer to that question is already obvious because Grand Theft Auto 6, knowing the company behind it like Rockstar, we already know that the game is going to be big, and it's going to surpass its predecessors, which is like Red Dead Redemption 2. And
do you think it's going to be good?
Yeah?
Do you think it's going to be worth, let's say, for example, $100? Sorry, I need to add that point.
Do I think the game is going to be do I think the game is going to be good? Absolutely. Is it going to be worth No, absolutely not. Because when we're speaking about the core gameplay, when it comes to the whole Rockstar games, the core gameplay of Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be practically the same, or at least close to Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, we all know the gameplay mechanics and all for the Rockstar games when it comes to the shooting, the driving, and all. It's practically the same with each game with just minor tweaks. Do I feel like they're gonna be different in Grand Theft Auto 6? Yeah, but a little. It's not gonna have something completely major. And the many new, basically with Grand Theft Auto 6, you're gonna have a completely new experience, but the core gameplay, it's gonna be the same as the previous games. It's not gonna like offer you something completely new when it comes to like the shooting mechanics. I believe they're going to be the same with just some minor tweaks.
There's going to be a dragon monster in the game. Sorry.
No, this is Grand Theft Auto. We already know what to expect. Yeah.
I don't know why we're expecting like something gold tier when something's going to not. Like, it's not going to hit a gold tier game. Let's just be fair. It's not going to.
For me, this is probably my opinion. But the only reason why everybody's just wow, look at this Grand Theft Auto 6 is because of the visuals. Graphically and visually, the game looks incredible. But gameplay wise, we're gonna have the same thing as Grand Theft Auto 6 and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not gonna be something completely new. Maybe they're gonna add some things new to give you a new experience, but the core gameplay is still the same. It's still the same shooting mechanics, still the same driving experience. We're gonna have just some minor tweaks, and that doesn't push for $100. You know,
we've been waiting. Like, we as fans are looking at that game, going, 10 years in the making. Come on, it's gonna be amazing. It's not 10 years in the making. This is COVID.
It's no, but the problem is that even if the
Right
game
strikes, COVID,
is
definitely.
splendid, right? Even if the game it's splendid, or even if it's mediocre, the biggest question to us is like, if the developers choose to sell the game at $100, will people buy it? And unfortunately, the answer is yes. That's a reality. It's just
Unfortunately,
like the
that's
Nintendo
who we are.
Switch 2, and people complain about this Nintendo Switch 2 that was too expensive. On the live streams, everybody was writing drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. And I thought to myself, well, okay, it's everybody seems to be mad about the price. I mean, personally, I live in a situation where I can afford a Nintendo Switch 2. I was saving up already for Nintendo Switch 2, so I will buy the Nintendo Switch 2 regardless. But yeah, since nobody else will, because everybody's complaining, then I'm not gonna even pre-order it. I'm just gonna go to the store and buy it. And then I realized, like, the pre-orders are off. So that means that there is a disconnect between what people say and complain and what people do.
Yeah.
Because companies
Absolutely.
don't care what you think. Companies think what you do. If you buy GTA 5 at $100, you will buy a GTA 6 at $100. So objectively speaking, and this is very unfortunate because of course I don't want games to be so expensive, but objectively speaking, there is no reason why Rockstars cannot increase the price of their product to $80 or $90 or even $100 because people will buy it.
Yeah, and it feels like they're gonna go for it because they know how much
At this point, why
people
not, right?
want to
It's
play the game.
it's unfortunately it's a bit of a it's not fault of one company precisely, but it's PlayStation increased its prices, then Nintendo increased its prices, then Xbox increased its prices. So everybody's playing their game, and then there is no reason why Rockstar cannot wager a bit higher because again, people will buy GTA 6 regardless of quality and regardless of the price because people are waiting GTA 6 again. With all due respect with Rockstars, they've made wonderful games in the past. They've made wonderful games in the fairly recent time with Red Dead. So they do have a good track record. We mentioned that earlier, right? We mentioned regarding the track record. Of course, a good company, to keep a nice track record, they have to prove that they have delivered what they promised. And Rockstar has. They have delivered always banger experience, wonderful titles. But and therefore, for this very same reason, there is no reason why they should sell the game at low price. Why? Why is it at $50? Why? There is no reason. So, unfortunately, even if people will complain if the game is sold at $100, the same people who complain will be the first people online to buy it. The first ones, unfortunately.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm complaining and I ain't buying it. Even at $80, I'm not buying it.
I mean, I was not planning to buy it anyway, but yes, it's truth be told, there might be people who don't buy it for that reason.
I'm very potentially going to buy this game. I cannot wait.
But that's for instance the same problem that the Pokemon franchise had. The Pokemon franchise had clearly lowered their quality standards for their titles. Like they're laggy, they're buggy, they're messy. They, comparison to other JRPGs, they are clearly lower in value budget-wise. But people don't care. People care that they have the Pokemon in the Pokemon games and they will buy it. They complain about Scarlet and Violet being very buggy, being very messy, whatnot. It's the second highest selling game of the whole franchise. So yes, why would Game Freak care if people complain about the quality or people complain about the prices? They can sell you whatever. People will still buy it. Maybe, let's say 2 million people decided not to buy the game. But when the game sells 50 million at day one, 2 million extra will not change that much. And besides, if you increase the price by 10% and 5% of people decide not to buy it for that reason, you still get 5% more of money because the increase that you get, you cover for those people and more. So objectively speaking, how many people will say objectively I'm not gonna buy the game if it's too expensive? Some people, but
I'm going to wrap this up now because we have hit our recording time limit for the hour. So let's bring it back down just for a second. Before we totally end it, just going to end it with this. Okay. We're going to quickly just go through a few game titles that you think are definitely worth the price that they're at. So I'm going to start off first with 3 game titles that I absolutely think are totally got the content and prices that they deserve. So just get yours ready. Mine would be... actually, I'll start with Lewis because Lewis hit some games down for me before the podcast started. He said Satisfactory for about £33, which was perfect. It's great. It's got loads of content in for that price. Absolutely stunning. You've got Hitman, which is worth about £60. The latest Hitman games. That's they're also they're filled with enough content for that price to be worth it. Let's just go with that. you're like, oh, that is unbelievable. And then you've also got, for me, it would be Oblivion. I'd say for the price of Oblivion, for all the content in that game, I totally think that's worth it. With upgraded graphics and all the add-on packs added on in, just it for a re-release, if you loved Oblivion originally, you're just gonna love this one even more. They've done a lot of justice to the game. I absolutely love Oblivion. Blue Fox, I'm gonna come to you really quickly to name a game that you recommend.
Yes,
pricing.
I have two games on top of my head that are very, and those are, it's a bit of the opposite. They are fairly cheaper games that I think that I would still buy them at full price if they were more expensive.
Okay, yeah.
So the first one is Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf, which is a game that I think its original price is 10 euros, but during sales times it's always lower, and I bought it for literally €1.50. It was like discounted 80%. And I bought it because I said to myself, well, it's only €1, right? It's a worst case scenario. I've wasted one coffee on this game. Beautiful game. 20 hours adventure. It's a role-playing game, but it's a book. It's basically, it feels like kind of a D&D, but it's a single-player one. So it's basically a book where you choose your things of role-playing, but then the fights are like actually fought in a, let's say, traditional way of a video game. And it's just a very beautiful story, very interesting, and it's only 20 hours, so it's not even too long. And again, €1.50, truly worth it. At full price, I think it's 10 euros, so it's still very cheap. And the second game is Child of Light, which is an older game from Ubisoft Art, which is like the smaller studio for Ubisoft. And it's again another role-playing game, which is 15 euros, I believe, at current price, but doing sales you find at 5. And it's truly fantastic. It's a very beautiful game. It's 10 hours of length, but it feels like 30 because there's a lot of content, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of enemies, a lot of things to do. And it just, I was surprised when I checked how much I played. I said, wait, only like 12 hours? Really? I've been playing this game for like this whole week, every day, like 5 hours. What's going on? It's so full of content. And instead it was, it lasted me not that much. So, and that's quite useful actually, because again, going back to the whole idea of games lasting too long, we should play a bit of shorter games that do give us nice experiences. And again, for 15 euros, it's definitely worth the ticket. So, Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf and Child of Light.
And last but not least, finalising the... I hope you've got the best for last, Kamazoid, because I'm coming to you last. Kamazoid, what is your recommended game for the price that it's at?
I believe these three games came out at full price, and I certainly 100% believe that they are absolutely worth it. But this is again my opinion because one of these games completely differ on others depending on the kind of stuff they like. So the number one is absolutely Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second part of the trilogy of the remake and all. Came out $70, and I find it absolutely worth it. The fact that it took me 110 hours in order to finish everything in the game, like, it goes to show on the amount of content, the amount of fun, the experience that I had with the game. The story is so well written. The characters are so much fun and lovable to follow, and their story is just so great, and it feels like you can connect with these characters, so it's so much fun. It pushed me to experience the side content in order to see the kind of connections that you can build with these characters and all. The second game, this one's more of my style, which is Black Myth Wukong, a little bit close to this style of Dark Souls, Elden Ring and all, and it has the same gameplay style to Devil May Cry, maybe even God of War. The atmosphere of that game was so good, following more the Chinese mythology or whatever. I believe following the Journey to the West story with the Monkey King and all. Wukong, first time experiencing something related to the Chinese history and all, was really great. The story is written, it's complicated and difficult to understand, but the many cinematics, the many cutscenes, which each one having its own animation, was so wonderful to watch. The gameplay was so simple and yet so challenging because of the amount of bosses that this game had. And the bosses was so much fun, including the secret bosses that is very hard to actually find, but they're so much fun. The content in this game is so much, and it's really well done. It can be difficult to find the secrets, but finding those secrets is so satisfying that lead to secret, incredible bosses well hidden, and they have like a secret final chapter, which is very well hidden. In order to access it, you have to do some stuff, which I like stuff like that when done by video games. And the last one, which is fairly recent, which is of course Seb and Blue Fox know that I'm gonna put something like this, which
Obviously.
is not just not Elden, it's Elden Nitrin, and the only reason why I put this game
Saw that coming.
on my list
Yeah.
is basically because I would absolutely pay $40 or $50 with some fun time with the boys, getting absolutely wrecked and beaten by some bosses to just go in again and get beaten again and just laugh it off. An Elden Ring or Dark Souls experience with the boys is just so much fun, which is came out worth the price. Don't listen to what the people say. You can't play this game; it's a cash grab. If you have two of your friends, an Elden Ring, trap them in a chair, roll them up, give them a controller, I don't know, and play this together. It's you just I've never laughed so hard.
It's what
Never had so
Hammer's
much
does
fun.
to his friends.
Dying. Yep, dying. Same boss over and over, and then just replaying again with the same strategy, not evolving, not making any plans, just having a blast. That game is absolutely worth it, in my opinion. Worth the $40. I did not get mad. And I don't want to go into another tantrum and make this the Doom podcast episode, so I'm sorry on that.
Yeah, I love it. It was great. Those are some good recommendations from both of you. You went even better than me. Right, okay. There you go. The links for those recommended games will be in the description underneath the official podcast posted at the end of the month. Dun, 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 dun. Until then, we will catch you later. I've been Seb.
I've been
Thank you for watching.
Kamizoid.
There we go. I love we both said that at the same time. There you go, anyway. That's Kamizoid and Blue Fox. Their channel links will also be in the description under the main video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. It's goodbye from me.
Bye-bye.
Later. It's been a pleasure.
And that's our wrap, yes. I'll send you the audio file as soon as I export it. Can you send me the Google Doc? Where can I put it?
We'll do 1 second.
Okay, well, yeah, today's podcast was pretty chill. I think it was okay.
1 sec.